fighters, the EFF, has approached South Africa's Constitutional Court to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's interdict against Parliament's impeachment process. Now, the party is seeking to overturn the Western Cape High Court's ruling, arguing that the judgment unlawfully prevented the impeachment committee from fulfilling its constitutional mandate. In a statement, the EFF argues that President Ramaphosa's concerns that ongoing parliamentary proceedings could cause irreparable reputational and political damage before final determination are unfounded, and maintains that Parliament must be allowed to exercise its constitutional responsibilities without judicial interference. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by the Deputy President of the EFF, Godrich Gardee. Mr. Gardee, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time.
A very good afternoon to you, my sister, and to our listeners.
Fantastic. I want to start actually with that last point of the intro between Parliament and judicial or possible judicial interference. I mean, you're arguing that the courts have essentially unlawfully prevented Parliament from carrying out its constitutional obligations. What, in your view, then, is the central constitutional principle, as it were, that the Constitutional Court now must decide in this case?
It flows from the separation of powers. The Parliament is governed by its own rules of the National Assembly. It has got oversight portfolio committee. In the event that we have an unprecedented order of the court which says a portfolio committee cannot summon a member of the executive to appear before it to account for some prima facie shenanigans in a department, then the Parliament will be constrained forever, and many other members of the executive will definitely do exactly what the President has done. So it must be put to a stop, and there must be certainty. Can a preliminary process of Parliament be interdicted by another arm of state before it reaches a conclusive determination? Because that process has a likelihood that the President can be exonerated. It is akin to South African police service being interdicted from investigating an allegedly a crime where there's prima facie evidence. Alternatively, or similarly, with interdicting the National Prosecuting Authority from proceeding with a prosecution where there is prima facie evidence that there are prospects of a successful conviction in the prosecution. The same thing applies now to Parliament, where it has got an ad hoc committee established by rules of Parliament. It is in a value chain. It is in a process. It is not definitive and complete. It is inconclusive up until it has tendered its report to the National Assembly. Before that, then there will never be any accountability by the executive, because wait for a moment. There will be a 2 billion rand scandal at ESCOM. You cannot summon the Minister of Electricity. There will be another scandal of 10 billion rand arms deal. You cannot summon the Minister of Defense. That's the President, what Mr. Ramaphosa is trying to put into our political landscape.
Yeah, I want to talk about then the court process. You're going straight to the Constitutional Court for this matter to be overturned. Why do you believe that this can't wait for a normal appeal, as an example? And I mean, how confident are you as a party that the Con Court will, in fact, overturn the High Court's decision?
Our jurisprudence, case law, and precedents informs us that an order of the Constitutional Court is subject only to an interpretation by the Constitutional Court, and no any other court can second guess the Constitutional Court. All what Mr. Ramaphosa needed to do was to approach the Constitutional Court for an interdict in the effecting of an order of the Constitutional Court, which says the matter must proceed with the impeachment committee. The lower courts have got no competence and jurisdiction to second guess and set aside or interdict an order of the Constitutional Court. There are numerous cases before the Constitutional Court where it was eloquently and articulated that where the business is the order of the Constitutional Court, that which is being taken to task, it is only the prerogative and competency and jurisdiction of the Constitutional Court to deal with that issue. Yeah. Mr. Ramaphosa should have gone to the Constitutional Court. And we believe that on the basis of precedent, it is only the Constitutional Court that can deal with the issue of the Western Cape High Court interdicting an order of the Constitutional Court.
As we finalize our conversation, I want to look at then what President Cyril Ramaphosa through his attorneys is arguing, that allowing an impeachment process to continue unchecked could cause irreparable reputational and political harm. On the other hand, critics are saying that this, your move, when you look at the ATM as well, is more about political pressure on President Ramaphosa than on constitutional principle. How do you then, frame those conversations?
As a matter of fact, the issue of Mr. Ramaphosa is no different from his historical conduct. You'll recall that there is a very big envelope with a list of many multi-billionaires who donated over R1 billion to make him president. And it is still, the man does not want accountability. He is no different from Zuma, who has for over 20 years evading his trial on the arms deal. So it is typical of presidents of the ANC in this country and the ANC culture of evading scrutiny and accountability. And it can't be allowed. Mr. Ramaphosa must just subject himself to the process, and the likelihood that the process may as well exonerate him is also there. And accordingly, he can't say he will suffer irreparable harm. By its very nature, inherently, scrutiny and investigation and going through an inquisitorial and adversarial investigation, it is inherent that you have to answer uncomfortable questions. How did the $1 million end up in a sofa?
You're talking about...
Why would you trade in a foreign currency in a country where it is illegal to do so? That is the irreparable harm you will suffer. But unfortunately, it is inherent in the nature of the scheme and architecture of inquisitive and adversarial investigation.
Mr. Gardee, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we are eating into news time, but I do appreciate your comments and coming on to Channel Africa. Really do appreciate your time. That is Deputy President of the EFF, Godrich Gardee, for us. All right, we are now at 12:32. Let's take you straight to news.
SABC News,